And so we're going to go to Mr. Ahmad Ward, and I'm going to let you share your story.
Good evening. First, a couple of quick things before I get started. Number one, I promise that the gentleman on stage did not plan this wardrobe thing. It worked out that way. There was no collusion there. And secondly, I'm going to get T. Marie King after this is all over with for making me follow Judge Houston Brown in any form or capacity, doing anything. But I'll do my best. I've heard a lot of really interesting things said here. And I think what you said about bias is very important. And it's something that I try to say as much as possible. We all have it. We have prejudice, we have bias, we have things that color the way we see and view the world. And it would behoove us to be honest about those things. And so, when I have a chance to talk to groups, I have a couple things in mind. Number one, I want to make sure that we're honest about the realities that we're facing. And number two, I won't say I try, it kind of works that way. Inevitably, we may get itchy. Some of you may already be itchy in the crowd already. That's some of the things that we said. Being itchy is how we deal with this topic for real, because we have never had substantive, honest, real conversations about race. And even though race is a social construct, it is very real. And we are all under its spell. We all suffer under this. Every last one of us, even the people who think that they are above or separated or don't see color. So here's where I step on toes already. Okay, so I warned you. Color blindness is problematic. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why. I have respect for people who they want to view the world as I don't see color, I see you as a human being, that's wonderful. But I need you to see my color, because my color, no pun intended, colors everything about me. I mean, it's part of who I am. Yes, I am human. You can say I'm human first, but I'm black and all that. And I may mess this quote up, what James Baldwin said, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, to be black and to be conscious is to be in a rage all the time. So for most of my adult life, I had to balance that rage and conscious, because as soon as I was able to process thoughts, I have been other. Not only as a black person, as a black male, because my friends and I used to joke as someone born in the 70s, growing up in the 80s, we were the #1 suspect in any crime in a 3-mile radius, whether we were involved or not. This comes home for me when I am, I think, 16 years old. Knew before then, but we're telling a story, so this is a story I wanted to share with you. So, growing up, I had a father who, was born in 1948, so lived through all this stuff that I talk about on a regular basis at my job, and gave us everything that we needed to know, but did it in the most honest fashion possible. So when it came down to dealing with police officers, when I was old enough to be deemed a suspect, we had to talk. I mean, old enough to be deemed a suspect, like 10. When the police approach you and it looks like the temperature is being raised, put your hands out to the side, open your palms, stare him in the eyes or his forehead or eyebrows, I don't care, somewhere in that general vicinity. Listen to every word he says. Speak only when spoken to. Say yes, sir. Say no, sir, because the goal is getting home. I was 10 in 1985. This is not a new concept. If something happens right now, and this is the sad part, if I'm in a position where there are law enforcement involved, and I have police officers that are friends of mine, okay? But if that temperature is heightened, even if I'm not involved, automatically, I'm gonna jump right back into this. And so at the age of 16, I'm at a mall with my friends. I grew up in northeastern North Carolina, a little small town called Elizabeth City. We probably had 18,000 people then. There's probably 21,000 now. Okay, it's kind of little, but we were the city in that area. So it tells you how rural we were. Go to the mall. My aunt worked in the store, JCPenney. I'm not trying to spend. So we were going to leave. I'm going to stop by and see her before we left. She wasn't at work. So okay, let's go. Went out that side door, cars in the back. As most teenagers do, you do goofy stuff, horseplay, goofing off. So, you know, you slap boxing, play fight, go into the car. Somebody said something stupid, so we pushed it. Man, so we just play fight. Headlocks, noogies. You know. I look up, and there are 4 patrol cars. I didn't even hear them come. But I look up and there are 4 patrol cars easing to a stop. And cops get out of all these hands-on posters. Everybody free. What y'all doing here? So there's about 7 young black males. We all did the same thing. Just playing around. We all know, yes sir, we all know each other. No sir, nobody's fighting. Yeah, I live next to him. We all gonna get in the same 2 cars. We're okay. Y'all go home. They get back in the car, pull off. We stand in the parking lot. Because we're trying to process what just happened. But out of those cops that jump out of there, I'm looking at them in the face, and they're looking at me like one move. But I'm noticing there's at least one who's not looking at me like, you better listen to me. There's some fear. And I'm picking up on that fear as a 16-year-old. What they needed me to do, guess what? Either we're tasting the street, or worse. And so you grow up into that. And so I have 2 little girls. And I had this conversation with them not too long ago about how you interact with police officers. And also how you are going to be portrayed, how you're going to be seen, regardless whether you like it or not. Some of you might have gone to TEDx Birmingham. I had a chance to talk about this. Just real quickly. There was a football player, Riley Cooper, Philadelphia Eagles, was at a concert, said he'd fight every N-word in here. You know, it's so commonplace to just throw the word around now. He didn't think about it. Got in some trouble. That's when my 10-year-old, she was 8 then, and said, "Daddy, what's a racist?" And so my first inclination wasn't, oh man, I gotta tell her what a racist is. It was, I hadn't done this yet. I'm questioning myself. I hadn't done this yet. She's 8. You know how silly it is to have to tell someone under the age of 10 about how people are going to hate them regardless of what they do. You know how that when they take something out of you. But if I don't do that, we're gonna have a problem. And so I like what you just said about unconscious racism. Racism has never been unconscious for me. I understand the term, and I know that it's It deals with the way people interact with you, and there's some things about them, about you, that they won't necessarily say, like, hey, I ascribe to this, but it might manifest itself in action. Like moving to the other side of the street, you walk down the sidewalk, locking your doors when you come to a parking lot, moving your children when your children come around. And people notice that stuff. See, just to let you know, we notice that stuff. I know none of you in here would do that, but we pick up on it. It's that same thing that causes you to go into rooms where you are the minority and look for the other minorities in the room and get the head nod. I'm sitting here, I saw him when he walked in, I saw him when he walked in, I saw him in the street when he walked in. It's unconscious. And that's just, okay, I got somebody else in the room, okay. Just plain honesty. And that's a connection that we've had to create for ourselves. I was in Argentina, my last day there, conference, CIVTOS conference, Buenos Aires. I'm waiting for my car to take me to the airport. See this guy walk in with someone who's probably a native from the area, and we paused, looked there for a couple minutes, ran over to him, hey man, how you doing? All right, yeah, good to see you, man. All right. Where you from? Oh, I'm from Chicago. Oh man, I'm from Birmingham. His girlfriend is looking, in the world? You know this guy? But I picked up, I knew exactly that he was American. He was African American. I knew that we had made this connection in this room where there was nobody there but us, looked the same, and we just went and spoke to each other. That commonality has been one of necessity. Has been one of necessity. And so when I hear people talk now about how black people are the main racist or reverse racism being a real concept, can we address that real quick? I know you know better in here, but reverse racism implies that white people are inherently racist. Right? Racism is racism, correct? So reverse racism would say, well, the only racists are white people. That doesn't make any sense. So the concept of reverse racism in itself is a misnomer and not real. And so the next time somebody says that in your presence, you can say, you know that's not real, right? You know. Are you a racist? Well, no. Well, if you call him a reverse racist, that means you're saying you're a racist, correct? Somebody, I never thought about that before. Okay. But that whole concept of race and racism is so pervasive, and it colors everything we see. And so when people say, why don't y'all stop talking about this? If you would just ignore it, it will go away. It has not gone away for 400 years. And acting like it is not present will not make it go away. Having conversations will help us to ease some of that situation. You in the audience may have had, or anybody may have had an experience with someone who looked like me that was not positive. Could happen to you at any point in your growing up. You could choose to have issues with everyone who looks like me because of that one incident. And I could not take that from you. That is your reality. Your perception is your reality. And you are just mature enough to know that everybody is not the same. In turn, if I was not enlightened or mature, I could have a problem with every white person in the room and have ammunition to back up my problem. I choose not to do that. Because number one, it's not right. Number two, it does nothing for me. I gain nothing from that. If we put things in that perspective, then our whole world starts to open up. And that applies to every body, whether they're black, white, Native American, Asian, Hispanic, whether it's Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, Christian. Something could have happened to you at some point and colored your whole view of that community. You got to decide when you are going to deal with it, because the issue is not them. It's you. And once we decide that we're going to go beyond that feeling and open up and put ourselves in a position where we actually learn from other people, instead of going by what media has fed us for so many years, what word of mouth has told us about what our uncle has said about these people for the last 20-some years, and we took it as true because that's your favorite uncle, even though he might be a rabid bigot. Self-introspection is key. It always has been. And the more we do that, the better we're going to be. And so when these conversations take place, if we go into it saying, okay, I'm going to put everything out there, I'm going to speak my mind, I'm going to not be afraid about connecting with somebody and not go along to get along, so we have a kumbaya moment and sing and all be happy and then go back to our cars and have the same feelings that we had before we came in the door, then we can have some motion.